Yo, hit the sub, hit the bell, let's get into it. So, leather fragrances. I was recently hit with a tag from my friend on comment. I'll drop a link in the description. You can check out his channel. Good overall guy, well-rounded in the fragrance community, decent amount of knowledge, and just get some good vibes when you go to his channel. Check out the description. So, I don't have a lot of fragrances that have leather in it, but I do have some that kind of gives me that thought of leather a little bit, give me a leathery vibe, and I do have a few fragrances that actually have a leather in the note layout. The first one I want to go over is one of my favorite ones, and this is Halloween Man X. This is by Jesus de Pollo, I believe. This one is really, really nice. Love this one. This one has notes of lavender, cardamom, lemon, coffee, whiskey, cinnamon, leather, mineral notes, tonka bean, and incense and amber. It's such a smooth, coffee-dominated fragrance, but everything kind of works together and comes together so well with this fragrance. That lavender is like a smooth floral that comes in with that coffee. You got that whiskey, slight cinnamon. It's not that powerful cinnamon at all that overpowers. A very smooth one. Some incense, some amber. Love this fragrance. This thing lasts on me probably like 10 hours. And that coffee note is not to be played with. It will be there. You think it's gonna leave? It's gonna be there. My next one, I was not able to find any decent note layouts for this online, but this is Sabawa Oud by Rayanna, and yeah, this stuff is really good. It doesn't necessarily give me a complete leathery vibe, but I do get like that. I guess if you were to imagine like what a new purse or a new expensive purse would smell like, it gives me that. Like, it's very resinous, and I think that that's what kind of makes me feel like it leans more so leathery because of how resinous and sweet that wood is, and some leathers can come off like that. This one is this is a favorite of mine. You can see I just bought this one and I already put a substantial dent in there, and it is just such a beautiful oud. I definitely recommend this for anybody. Sabawa Oud, SABHAWA Oud. Look on fragrance.net or fragrance.x and you should be able to find it. My next one actually has a leather note in it, and this is from Alt Fragrance. This is Brick number 24. This is their variation of Tuscan Leather, which is just a great leather fragrance. I love Tuscan Leather because of that raspberry note. Like, that is so much fun. The fact that it's like this really rough, harsh, loud leather, and then it's accompanied by this sweet and tangy raspberry. That's just a good time right there. That's just a good time, yo. Like, I didn't know what to expect from Tuscan Leather, and I never really thought about picking it up. Alt Fragrance was nice enough to send this to me, and I tried this out. Love this right here. This is one of my favorite leather fragrances. I even got an oil version of this, of Tuscan Leather, and I dropped the bottle, and so I poured the remainder of that bottle into like a little plastic bottle I had at home, and then added some Polo Red Intense that had that cranberry note in there, and mixed it around, and oh my god, this stuff is just great. That leather is a good leather that's in there. Here's another one here. My next fragrance doesn't have a leather note in it. This is Guess 1981 Indigo. I haven't really worn this one that much. I wore it a little bit, tested out one day, and this doesn't have a leather note, but it reminds me of it. That fig and that lavender coming together, and that tonka bean. The fig, that lavender, is like a blue lavender, so it's much smoother and creamier. That tonka bean and that cedar wood that's in here, when those come together, it gives off like a cold leather. Like if you had like a leather jacket that's been sitting out in the cold or something like that, in the cold weather, and you come back and you kind of get a smell of that. That's what this reminds me of. It smells like cold weather leather, if that makes sense. I love it. The note layout for this one is fig, blue lavender, sage, bergamot, coconut nectar, Iris, oak moss, tonka bean, cedar, musk, and amber. This is really is for this to be as cheap as it was. It's actually a really good scent, and to me, it's pretty versatile. It's nothing that can just only be done in the spring or the summer or the fall. I feel like you can kind of wear it whenever. It's very non-offensive, very light, subtle, just clean, fresh. It's not too powdery. Very well balanced and just evened out fragrance. Very underrated. Yes, Indigo Man, 1981. This right here, the guy that tagged me sent me this one. Uncommon sent me Vetiver by Cologne. And this one, very rough and loud vetiver, of course. And you do get a little bit of that leather in there, but it just sort of dances alongside of the the notes for this. The note layout for this one is pretty extensive. It has tobacco, bergamot, lemon, nutmeg, neroli, coriander, mandarin orange, vetiver of course, pepper, coronation, sage, orris root, sandalwood, vetiver in the base, oak moss, leather, myrrh, civet, tonka bean, and amber. Very sort of like a dirtier but green and woodsy vetiver that is in this one. Very warm, very inviting. This one's peppery a little bit. This one is pretty good. Nice amount of spice in there, but it's not too spicy. This is a good, nice vetiver fragrance. I think the leather in this one gets hidden a little bit, but this was one of my fragrances that did have leather in it, so I went ahead and included it. This one here is actually an oil. This is from the House of Matt, and this is called Tom Ford Effing Fabulous. And I haven't smelled the original. I had a version from Alt Fragrance, and I did not like that one. So I ended up ordering this one. The one from Alt Fragrance, probably, I didn't like it at first. I'm coming around to it now, and it was probably a really good depiction. I just never smelled the original. This one to me smells better than the depiction I got from Alt though. This one is a little sweeter. That leather note in here is a little louder. It comes off a little more harsh and sweet than the one from Alt. The one from Alt was a bit softer, but kind of gave off like a rubbery vibe, and I think it's due to that bitter almond that was in there. But I got like a rubber band kind of vibe and baby powder kind of vibe from the Alt fragrance variation, and I just wasn't vibing with it at first. As I'm smelling it more now, I'm coming around to it, and it doesn't seem as bad as it did at first. But this one is really nice, very unoffensive. It's clean, very soft, fresh, lightly spicy from the tonka bean, that amber, lightly woody, very soft and sweet from that vanilla and that lavender. It's just really nice. I was definitely glad that I picked this up. From House of Matt. So this was a good one here. My next one this doesn't have a leather note in it, but it definitely gives me a leather vibe. It kind of gives me like a fresh citrusy leather kind of vibe. This is a Uomo by Meneggiotto Zinga, I believe is how you pronounce it. And it's like a fresh, slightly spicy, very, very slightly spicy. Citrus type of scent. Has a little bit of wood in here, but it's very just fresh, woody, and it kind of makes you feel like it could be a leather fragrance, even though it isn't. It's very nice. I picked this up like $10 at TJ Maxx, and this stuff is really good, and it lasts for a long time. Meneggiotto Zinga Uomo. And lastly, this is one of my favorite scents, and not because of the leather depiction that I kind of get from it, because it mainly does something else, but I kind of get a leathery vibe from it, just slightly. Aqua Noire à l'extrême. I just love this. I love the bottle, I love the presentation, I love the smell, I love the size that I get a nice amount of juice. I love the price point. This is just a really good fragrance, and this is really good in my opinion for layering. For a man, we kind of get some of the same scents, you know. It's amber, leather, you know, same sort of scent, same sort of layout. And this one to me is very, very extremely woody, extremely woody. Um, there's an ink note in here as well. It's just, this is just really, really nice. And to me, you can layer this with some things that may be sweeter to really make a beautiful scent, to make a beautiful layered scent. I get like, somebody said it smells like books that hasn't been opened in a long time. But the woods that are in here and the ink, I definitely see that with pages and stuff like that being made from wood essentially. And then you have an ink note in here, it can give off a page or a book kind of vibe, an older book, but there's something in here as well that is nice to the nose, and it's very pleasant, very resinous. This has cypress, lime resin, bergamot, Haitian vetiver, incense, orris, benzoin, sandalwood, and patchouli. This is just nice. The bergamot comes in really slightly. Like I said, there's no leather notes in here, but I feel like this smells like a wild leather, like something that hasn't really been processed just yet, and it's still in that, you know, those beginning stages. I feel like this could possibly have that sort of depiction. This can, like I said, this can be layered with something beautifully. You get a raspberry note, or you get possibly like a blueberry note or something like that. Something a little sweeter, a little lighter, and mix it with that. You have something beautiful. That is it for my fragrances. That is it for my leather tag. Those are all the fragrances that I know offhand that have leather in it. I appreciate Uncommon for sending me the tag for this video. You will see more content coming from me as well. And yeah, that is it for this video, you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.